Welcome back to the Cave of Wonders, Dreamwalkers. I am your Sith Lord Callous for Lord Callous TV, and this is another Callous review. Today I want to talk to you guys about the Mandalorian episode 13 entitled The Jedi. So let's get right into it. The Jedi was written and directed by Dave Filoni. And say what you will, but in my opinion, this was good Star Wars. It looked good, it felt good. Can we nitpick if we want to? Of course we can. But why in the hell not just enjoy it? I mean, we got Ahsoka Tano in this episode, the mention of Tython, where the Jedi hail from in the Old Republic. We got HK assassin droids, and lastly, the mention of Mithron Nrodo, or Thrawn for those that don't know. I mean, this episode bridges Rebels, it bridges the Old Republic and even the EU to the Mandalorian. As this episode closed, I felt like Star Wars is in a good place. Now, the complaint about Ahsoka Tano's Leku being too short, I completely understand. It raised an eyebrow for me too, but I attribute that to practical effects and functionality. Filoni wrote and directed this episode. Ahsoka is his creation. He didn't just drop the ball. Trust, if a change was made, it was made because a change was needed. And surprisingly, I was not taken aback when I heard Rosario speak as Ahsoka, and the voice was not Ashley Eckstein. I felt like Rosario did a good job to embody the presence of Ahsoka Tano when we last saw her in the Rebels. Remember, Clone Wars Season 7 Ahsoka is the last time that we've seen her on screen, but she's still a younger version of the Rebels Ahsoka, and this Ahsoka is older still. She should be in her mid-40s, if I'm not mistaken, and that's standard years, of course. But right away, we get to see her dealing out the business to a group of guards in the foggy woods of Corvus. She's utilizing her Jedi skills to master stealth and striking from the shadows. The snap hiss of her silver blades was awesome to hear, and it was incredible to watch Rosario as Ahsoka slash through trees and use the debris against her enemies. The battle with the magistrate wielding the Beskar pike was a little lackluster for me though. The tone felt right, but we never really learned how this non-force user was able to stand toe-to-toe with Ahsoka Tano. Clearly she's been trained, she's wielding a very powerful weapon, and Thrawn was quoted... What? He was quoted to be her master. But the fight was a little, it was a little light in the ass for me. After seeing how badass Ahsoka was against the droids and the guards, and of course against Darth Maul himself. But otherwise, this was absolutely Ahsoka brought to life. And I have to admit to not liking Ahsoka Tano when she was first introduced in the Clone Wars. She was just annoying and overbearing for me. But as her character aged, my tolerance grew and eventually I warmed up to her. She had purpose, and her presence in the universe, I guess, was necessary. In this episode, we did learn that the child's name is Grogu, and like many of us who know the lore speculated, he was indeed raised in the Jedi Temple and was taught by a few different Jedi Masters. I enjoyed the intimate scenes with Ahsoka and Grogu and how she recalled the history of the Jedi Order from her experience. She spoke to the fact that Grogu may have bonded with Din Djarin, making it difficult to separate from him. We know this to be the case for many Jedi as Padawans. They tend to form an attachment with their masters. This can be dangerous, of course, because attachment leads to jealousy. Jealousy is the shadow of greed, and well, we all know where this line of thought will bring us. Needless to say, Ahsoka can sense the fear in Grogu, and she is reluctant to train him. And as we listen to Ahsoka recite all that has happened to the child through telepathic impressions in the Force, it raises many other questions. The most pressing for me is, who was it that took the child from the temple? Was it another Jedi, or was it Palpatine himself? Then I have to wonder if Gideon always knew that the child existed, or if perhaps the child was betrayed. Maybe the information was sold to him, who knows? I think the biggest question raised for me this episode is the name, the Jedi. Is that referring to Ahsoka, or is it just sort of a prelude since Ahsoka pointed Din Djarin to Tython at the end of the episode? Strangely enough, we never hear her denounce her affiliation to the Order, when so many refer to her as a Jedi, as she was so quick to do in the Rebels and in Clone Wars. When all is said and done, Ahsoka refuses to train Grogu because of the fear she senses inside of him and the lure of the dark side. She refuses to send him down the same path as her mentor and friend, Anakin Skywalker. So she sends Din Djarin and Grogu to Tython, where the connection to the Force will be strong, and his presence can potentially be felt by other Jedi in the universe. Now we know of Cal Kestis, Seer Junda, and Ezra Bridger currently alive during this time period, but so is Luke Skywalker and his nephew Ben Solo, and of course Leia Organa Solo, and the other trainees Luke may have found so far for his new temple. But then we also have the Knights of Ren in existence during this timeline, and the other Force sensitives like Night Sister Merrin, that don't subscribe to the light side of the Force or the Jedi way. So needless to say, this episode opened Pandora's box. I'm excited to see what's yet to come. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you like seeing a live-action Ahsoka Tano? Do you think she could be sending Mando on a wild goose chase just to keep Grogu from being trained? And don't forget, if you're new here to the channel, subscribe and hit that like button. And if you're so inclined to support the channel, we now have memberships available. I'd like to thank my current members, John Matrix, Rhodes Rants, Biggles Metz, and Callisto Arcus. Thank you so much for your support. Listen, I do what I love. I hope you love what I do. This has been a Callous Review. Until next time.